When was the last time you listened to community radio? Hands up. Ooh, okay. Not by accident. Okay, put your hand down. Not whilst driving. Any hands going down? Okay. And not because your Bluetooth stopped working. But you chose to listen intentionally. Okay, let me ask you about commercial radio. We all have that marked, don't we? How many of you listen to commercial radio? Wow, that's a lot of you, and me included, all right? We know our favorite we know our presenters, who they are. Whenever the jingles come on, we're jiving to them. And whenever there's an advert, that's our cue to go and grab a cuppa and a biscuit or two. Mine's a Jummy Dodger. What's yours? I like to dunk. Yeah? But why is it that we make more effort tuning into community radio? And that's why this talk, community radio, the least trendy media, is what's going to save us. Intrigued, right? The world around us, well, let's be honest, is driven by trends. Short form content is everywhere, okay? Scrolling is replacing listening, and podcasts are booming. Viral TikToks, Reels, that's where it's at. That's what's popular. And whereas community radio, a little bit smaller, a bit rough around the edges, doesn't chase algorithms as much, is less polished. I know of people that even consider it as old-fashioned. But the truth is, why do we live in a world that bigger means better? Credible means, I know the word. Bigger means better. Why do we live in a world like that, where relevance is trending? And one thing I have realized, that I've come to know, that some people have actually put their noses down at community radio. I've even heard people tell me that they're hesitant in actually coming onto community radio only because they feel it's not cool enough. It doesn't like reflect their brand image. It's not cool enough. But the reality is, many community radio presenters, including myself, we don't do it to be trendy. We spend so many of our hours doing what we do for the love of it, voluntarily. There are hundreds of community radio presenters who just want to have real conversations, raw, real conversations with their community. One thing community radio has managed to do, and that is it's actually keeping onto something that's rare, and that is time. Time in listening. Time to have conversation with the communities that are often not heard. Now, I'm going to share something with you. Once upon a time, many years ago, I was told I wasn't a broadcaster, that I didn't have what it takes. I was told that you don't really relate to the target audience. And then that made me really question whether I wanted to continue in broadcasting. Because, to be fair, and for us, it's like the first stepping stone, but not the end goal. We all want to be on commercial radio. We all want to be heard on there. But what I gained to learn from that was I'd be burnt out from it. I need to have conversations that are more than 15 minutes. I don't want a 30-second soundbite. I don't want a conversation to be cut off midway. Maybe community radio is where I need to be and stay at, because when I went into community radio, they just handed me a mic and told me, be who you need to be. And that was such a revelation. I was allowed to have conversations with individuals under my terms. They were rich, deep conversations. I saw people coming into the small studios with nervous, but then leaving with such confidence. I saw disengaged young people actually running the radio station. I saw women who were often told to be quiet actually leading their shows. That is community radio, localized. There's a power in it. There is such, I would say, it's such a experience that really explores what human connection is all about. There was a phase in my life where community radio gave me not one, but two chances. There was a moment in my life where I actually really questioned where I belonged. Am I doing enough? Am I doing enough for my communities? Is my voice being heard? What is my purpose? What is my relevance? I really, really questioned that until the second opportunity that hit me and really put things into perspective was when I interviewed a particular guest. We had the most wonderful conversation. It wasn't scripted, it was very natural, and it was a great interview. I met her 3 months later, and what she said to me was, "Do you remember when I came into the radio station?" And I said, "Yeah." Well, she said, "Oh, I was really nervous." And I'm like, "Well, that happens to the best of us." She goes, "No, I was speaking to the person that helped me in my darkest time." She shared that there was a moment in her life where she was struggling with postnatal depression. She was lonely, she was depressed. She had lost a member of her family. She stumbled across the community radio station just by chance, by accident. And there was a voice that she continued to listen to. She actually wasn't just listening, she was really taking note of the conversation. And what she felt from that conversation, there was hope. And she told me that listening into me gave her hope to step out of the house, to actually align herself with community, to become creative, because that's what a lot of the conversations that were being had. And in that moment, it made me realize that's my purpose. This is why I do what I do, because somewhere out there is actually listening into me and connecting to my courage, connecting to a conversation that may totally turn their life around. And that's where I really felt this is the power of community radio. And I will remain to stay with it as many more years as I can, as long as they keep me. So I've been doing it for about 15 years. That's a long time to commit to the radio station. The station, community radio, has opened doors I never imagined. If I compare it to commercial, okay, where we think it's, if you're on there, you've got a bigger audience, you're more visible, it's prestige, right? But here, there was something a little bit more precious. To be able to have conversations that are transformative. And those conversations have continued to happen because community radio is actually homing in to different accents, different experiences, different styles of conversations, which have empowered our communities to kind of maybe take the next step in their lives and become community presenters themselves. What I learned from this is everybody has a story within them and they just need a space to tell it. What I realized from this was Luton is in Technicolor. Luton stories are magnificent, where you would only get a 15-minute clip on, say, a mainstream radio, but Luton's community radio stations give you a full 45 minutes and then invite you back again if you want to. So I would really like to say to everybody, please check in with your community radio stations, volunteer with them. And one question I want to ask you, do you actually know what your community radio stations are in Luton? No, that's not one. That's a naughty word. Okay, all right, I'm liking what I'm hearing. Wonderful. So check in with them. Less Luton Urban Radio. Yeah, I heard another one there. Engage with them, volunteer with them, introduce them to your children, your families, get down there, get involved. Because this is social action in itself. If we want our stories to be heard, then that's where they need to be heard and they need to be shared and need to be amplified. Every not every trend is impactful. And one thing I know that the beautiful thing about community radio is it's not the most trending form of media, but what it is it's rooted in community. Okay? It's rooted in community. And and it's impactful. And all you need is one mic, space to be heard, and a broadcaster that was told that she wasn't, I don't know, she didn't meet the target audience, to believe in herself. And that's why I really believe that community radio is the least trendy media that might potentially save us. Okay, I'm finished. Thank you. Okay, right, I'm Shemiza Rashid. Thank you so much, and please tune into your community radios. Thank you.